We've got the future of British breaststroking, Max Morgan here. Who else we got here? Wolfgang. Apparently he's been a sub since 1,000 subscribers. Where do you all swim? Reeds? Are you all Reeds? This is the Reeds swimming, lads. All right, nice to meet you, boys.
Nice to meet you.
Last week I got the train to London for the Aquatics GB Championships, which is also the British Olympic Trials. It was going to be taking place at the London Aquatic Centre, which was purpose built to host the swimming at the London 2012 Olympics, and it's a beautiful pool. I printed off my coach's pass and headed to Westfield Shopping Centre to meet Jack and Jake, along with my dad, who I'd be spending the meet with. This was the second night of finals. It was Wednesday. We'd already seen some great racing, including Adam Peaty on night one, but day two was packed. Everyone was in the crowd, the atmosphere was great, and we did notice they kept putting the wrong names on the board. That's right, David Cumbledge wasn't in the 1500 freestyle final, and that was the first race we watched. Dan Jervis took a big lead to qualify to the Olympics in the nomination time with a 14:47, with Toby Robinson coming second with a massive lifetime best and his first ever swim under the 15-minute barrier, which any distance swimmer will tell you is the absolute holy grail. Well, that is until you start challenging for medals at the elite level and going around 14 minutes 30, which is just absurd. Just to put into perspective, going under 15 minutes means you're averaging under a minute per 100 for a 1500 metre race. Some of you might even find it challenging to go under a minute because, well, going under a minute is fast, and these guys do it for 15 minutes straight. Toby Robinson, who comes in second here with a FINA A cut, was actually on the Flagstaff altitude camp along with Loughborough at the same time I was there. The next race we watched was the women's 400 IM, which was one of two victories picked up by Freya Colbert there in lane 5. Here she took down Beatrice Varley of Plymouth Leander and Katie Shanahan, who comes second. She had won the 200 freestyle on night one, and she is definitely a big up-and-comer and a force to be reckoned with from British swimming. She is the world champion in this 400 IM event as well. We also watched some para races because this is actually incorporating the Paralympic trials, but weirdly, if you hadn't got a Paralympic international classification in your para category, you couldn't go on to finals. And what that meant is there was a lot of finals like this one here where there was only one swimmer in the race. Regardless, Bruce Dee done a brilliant job with this race and the crowd really got behind him and pushed him on. The inside of this pool really is beautiful, and I often caught Dad wandering around on the hunt for some great B-roll. The next race saw Max win the 400 IM. I've got a full video on the channel if you want to watch the whole race. Yes! Go on, Maxie! They've done a really cool thing at this meet where the medals were presented by someone close to the winner. Here we saw Pete Litchfield, Max's dad, get to go down, give his son a hug after winning the race and setting the British record and qualify for the Olympics, as well as hand over the medal. Night 2 finished with a big crowd pleaser, the men's 100 freestyle, where there was not only individual spots on the line, but relay spots as well, with GB having a big chance to be a medal threat in that relay. I've even theory crafted we could win it if everything goes right. Matt Richards was in lane 4, the fastest seed from the morning, and he would go on to win it after a fast first 50 in 47.8. David Cumbledge, who had a big breakout swim for second seed in the morning with 48.1, ended up fading a little bit to finish back in 6th place, with Duncan Scott and Tom Dean finishing faster, both dip under 48, with Tom Dean coming third to Duncan Scott coming second. I made the trip back to London on Friday night because I was really excited to see how this 100 metre butterfly final would pan out. I'm a big fan of Josh Gammon, having been at Plymouth Leander at the same time as him, and really think he could do something special in this final. Of course, the big favourites were in lane 6 and lane 4 in Jimmy Guy and Jacob Peters, and in lane 5 we had Ed Mildred, lane 3 Jamie Ingram, and in lane 2 Joe Litchfield, who I barely even had in the frame. Unfortunately, Jamie Ingram had a terrible start, slipping his hands out of streamline, and Jacob Peters used his awesome underwater to get a big early lead, coming into the 50 mark at 23.6. That being said, Joe Litchfield, who's still out of frame, absolutely annihilated the underwater off the turn, as did Josh Gammon up in lane 7, who started to pull away from James Guy. At this point, it looked like a 3-horse race between Joe Litchfield, Josh Gammon and Jacob Peters. It didn't look like James Guy was going to come back into the fray, and Joe Litchfield is still out of the frame, but he's coming back super well. Everything starts to get tough around here from Jacob Peters, who's coming high with his breath, and Joe Litchfield timed to finish perfectly to take a narrow 0.1 win over Josh Gammon, with Jacob Peters back in third. Now the crazy thing is neither of these swimmers got the FINA A Cup, which meant Joe Litchfield automatically qualifies for the relay at the Olympics, but we'll have to wait to see if he gets an invite on his B Cup to swim the individual race. Alternatively, British swimming could enter Jacob Peters and James Guy into the individual race because they have got the FINA A cut in the last year. We'll have to see who they end up selecting for the team. I should expect the teams to have been announced by the time this video goes live, and I hope Josh Gammon gets a European selection. We then had the women's 200 backstroke, where another ex-Plymouth Leander swimmer, who now trains with Ian Hume at Loughborough, Honey Osrin, wins the women's 200 backstroke with a narrow victory over Katie Shanahan. The night finished with the men's 200 IM, which had Duncan Scott in lane 4, my boy Max Litchfield in lane 5, and Tom Dean hunting for his first individual race qualification at this Olympic Games in lane 6. Duncan led from start to finish to win in 1:55.9, and Tom Dean closed very hard on the freestyle to finish in 1:56 ahead of Max Litchfield, locking in his only individual qualification for the Paris Olympics. Tom Dean won't swim any individual freestyle events there. Crazy considering he's the defending Olympic champ. I decided to skip Saturday finals, but Dad drove me back to the pool to meet Jake and Jack again for Sunday night finals. We enjoyed some of the beautiful weather and had a walk around the London Olympic Park, where we had some fun doing things like seeing who could hang the longest, which Dad and Jack destroyed me and Jake on. We then went to the pool to watch some racing. The first event was the women's 800 freestyle, where 14-year-old Emily Bloxbridge won her second individual British title, adding the 800 to the 1500 victory she'd already scored earlier in the meet. The way she races is very impressive, and she just hits it hard from the very beginning. Look at her stroke rate, which goes from start to finish, all the way to this big victory over Fleur Lewis, who came in on second. We then had the men's 200 backstroke, which I can't believe I'm saying was super stacked. I can't believe it because in previous years we've struggled in men's backstroke, but now we've got some depth. In the middle lanes we had Birmingham's Ollie Morgan and the British record holder and a defending Olympic medalist in this event, Luke Greenbank. Outside of the middle two lanes we also had Johnny Marshall in lane 3, who took a very early lead, Cam Brooker, Matt Ward and Brodie Williams, who could all cause an upset on the middle two lane swimmers to make this Olympic team. At 100 it was still Johnny Marshall winning, and being so prolific in yards in this event, I thought he would maybe be able to hang on, but it proved a little bit too far and he really died towards the end, and it looked like Luke Greenbank could just hold on, but in the end it was Ollie Morgan who finished beautifully to take the very small victory over Luke Greenbank. But both these boys have secured their tickets to Paris and will be going again head to head with the rest of the world in the summer. So far this meet we'd already had 2 British records. Ollie Morgan had broken Liam Tancock's 15-year-old 100 backstroke record with a 52.7, and Max had broke the 400 IM. In the heats of the women's 100 breaststroke, Angrad Evans come within 0.1 of Molly Renshaw's 100 breast record with a 106.2, but tied up towards the end of the 100 breast final to only narrowly win over Cara Hanlon in a time that was short of that record. We then moved on to the women's 100 freestyle, which was the first time we saw Freya Anderson in action. She's been battling glandular fever and pulled out of the 200 freestyle event, and it's presumed she'll get a discretionary pick for the Olympics. She came in this race third, behind Anna Hopkin and Eva Acaro. Anna Hopkin had a great 53.3 to win decisively in this event, but also it must be said that 18-year-old Eva Acaro had a brilliant PB, finishing in 54.3 to come second and hopefully secure a spot at the Olympics. Shout out to her coach Ash Morris at Repton. Here's Dad and Jack wearing my merch in the stands, and if you want to support my channel, please do check out my website for all sorts of good merch. Here's the men's 200 freestyle final, the last race of the whole meet and potentially the best. In fact, no, definitely the best. I'm going to turn the audio on from the meet so you can feel the electric atmosphere inside the London Aquatic Centre on this evening.